Good evening and welcome to Studio Tenn Talks. I'm Patrick Cassidy, the Artistic Director for Studio Tenn, and we have a very special show tonight. It's a conversation with artists, both in Tennessee and in New York City. And I want to get right to it. So I want to introduce the Associate Artistic Director for Studio Tenn, Mr. Benji Kern. He's coming on right here in a second. And then we will introduce our guest, Mr. Benji Kern. You can bring him on. There he is. Hey, Benji.
Hey, Patrick.
Welcome. And I'm going to introduce our three guests. We have three incredibly talented performers here tonight. First off is Erica Patterson. Erica was our Cinderella this year in Studio Tenn's production. She was Eliza Doolittle in My Fair Lady at the Larry Keaton Theater. She was in Hair and Ragtime and Jesus Christ Superstar at Circle Players. We also have Jennifer Whitcomb-Oliva, who is the stepmother for Cinderella here at Studio Tenn. She was just recently seen as Weezer here at Studio Tenn. She has done The Christmas Carol and The Battle of Franklin at Studio Tenn. She was Mama Morton in Chicago at Nashville Rep and The Toxic Avenger at Street Theater Company. And then we have from New York, a good friend of mine, there's Erica. Hey, Jennifer.
Hi.
We have a good friend of mine, Mr. Derrek Williams, who is, he got his Broadway start in Swing. He was in the national tour of Smokey Joe's Cafe. He was in the original Broadway cast of Wicked. He did that for a total of about 6 years, and he opened the national tour as Fiyero. And then he went to Las Vegas to play Mufasa in Lion King. He is currently on Broadway in a Book of Mormon, which he's been doing for the last 6 years. I know him personally because we did Aida together, the first national tour. Is he available? Okay, so he'll come in about 5 minutes. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the show. So great to see you both.
Good to see you
all.
too.
I see Benji all the time. So we have a wonderful show, and let's get to it, Ben.
Well, first of all, if you are viewing at home, we ask that if you have any questions for us during the show to message us directly on Facebook. You can leave positive commentary in the live comments, but any questions that you may have, we're directly fielding those in Facebook, and those will get to us ASAP. So please do that for us. I guess to start off, how is everybody today? I think that's this is the first question I have.
I'm well. I won't complain.
I'm all's well here, doing okay. Thank you for asking.
Yes,
thank you. Erica, you are in Alabama now?
I am. I'm visiting my parents in Huntsville, Alabama. So.
And Jennifer, you're in Nashville.
I am. I'm in Nashville.
And Derrek, once he joins us, I know is in New York. So
yeah, he's joining us from New York City. So I guess one of the first questions we're going to ask tonight is, what is it like being a Black artist in current time, both at a regional level in Nashville and on a national level?
Jennifer, you want to go first?
Sure, why not? It can be really challenging and difficult at times. When there are only so many roles for Black people, and we are kind of put into this box of a sort, it can be really challenging just to get any work at all. So I would say that it's wonderful, it's great, it feels good, again, because there aren't many roles, but it can also be challenging. So.
And I completely agree with that. I think that the limiting amount of roles, that creates a whole different situation that makes it more competitive, and even the selection of things that you see Black artists in. There's so much out there, but I just feel like mostly we see sort of like the same things over and over again when we do see Black artists on stage.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What is something that theater companies can do to advance and to practice more mindfulness and to make sure there is equality?
Erica, you want to answer?
Yeah, of course. Well, personally for me, I would think that just reaching out to a variety of just different Black artists, because we're all Black, but we all think differently, and we all have a different point of view and how we come and view things or vocalize things even. And even in our variety of what we can do in our talents, I feel like just very different. So I feel that if we just open up the conversation, because in order to make change, we have to have conversation. It starts with the conversation. And if you're willing to sit down, talk, and listen, it can be hard to hear the truth at times, but if you can just sit through that uncomfortableness, change can come. And when you're uncomfortable, that promotes change, in my opinion, in my experience as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I would also say that something to do to help, because we are so limited. I know, I hope I'm not jumping the gun, but with this whole colorblind casting situation, I know that there are so many companies out there that are doing Black plays, which is wonderful. But in a way, it's also really segregated, because there's, the mainstream shows that are predominantly white, and then they're just producing like a Black show for the season. And what would be wonderful, I know that I myself strive to I just want to be included in the shows. It doesn't have to be the Black people do the Black shows and then there's everything else. Why can't we do Oklahoma and do 39 Steps and do all of these other shows? Just cast Black people in plays.
yes.
Period.
Yes.
That would help a lot.
Sure. Surely.
You're so right, Jennifer. I want to say hello. Hey, Derrek, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Hi, Derrek.
Hello, Mr. Derrek.
Sorry, guys. Had a little Chrome business to deal with. Okay.
I have
apparently Safari is not included.
yeah, I had the same problem when we started this venture 5 weeks ago. So, welcome to the show, Derrek. It's great to see you, pal.
Thanks for having me.
So, Benji, you want to continue and give the question to
Yeah.
Derrek too.
So, Derrek, we were just talking about at a regional level the challenges for Black artists in casting each season, and how theaters at a regional level can be better producers, and take in a lot of that discussion and take in a lot of that commentary right now. Yeah, so that's sort of what we were chatting about.
Okay, all right. I know you were talking, so you can go ahead and continue, Jennifer.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just, I kind of like rounded that out. But I was just talking. No. I was just talking about how there still seems to be segregation in the way that the plays are produced, and that it would help, I think, if companies would try to just include people of color in the seasons.
In their production.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be just a Black play for Black people.
It's and this may sound crazy. It has been a minute for me regionally, and that's not try to sound any like tooting my horn in any kind of way. That's not what I'm doing. But I do know from 15, 20 years ago. And I can only imagine what that is like now, because it's I think locally they do look at their fan base and who they're dealing with, and they go from there. And you're absolutely right. There's no reason why there shouldn't be a Black Cinderella or anything, just looking at things differently. So it does start there. I believe a lot of it starts in the regional areas. I mean, now I don't want to say start because it starts. I mean, because Broadway has kind of been doing it in a sense. I heard you mention Black Oklahoma, which there has been companies of Black Oklahoma, not necessarily on Broadway. I think those have been. I think things are. It's funny. It shouldn't take this long for things to turn, but it is. There was a Black Oklahoma, I think, last year. In one place. But it doesn't have to be all Black Oklahoma. It should just be Oklahoma, starring so and so. It's just this world that we live in, and it's frustrating, and it's terrible, and it's it's like for regional theaters, it's time to stand up and say, well, we're going to make a difference, because that's what theater is about. Our community is about making change. We're the ones who promise change, who promotes change. And until we're able to do that, until like local theaters and other things like that, we are able to put their money aside or their situation aside with their fans and how they feel, how they think they're going to feel, and just roll with it and see what happens. Take a chance, because that's what we do. And until local theaters, regional theaters take that chance, the really big ones do, but there are other ones that can as well. And it can be done more and more and more, because I mean, honestly, we're still dealing with that on Broadway as well. To be perfectly, I mean, it still happens. I mean, I think of myself years ago, when I was up, when Grease came back, when they did the whole TV Grease thing. Do you guys remember that? Well, they had auditions for the other parts before that. The TV thing was for Danny and what's the chick name?
Sandy.
So it's for Danny and Sandy, and they auditioned for all the other parts, and I got down to the finals for Kaniki. And I don't want to throw nobody out there, but the casting person told my manager, which I appreciate, because I just, I know I'm going there and I'm killing it. But she said, Derrek did a great job and they love him. They just couldn't find a Black Rizzo. Yeah. So but this was like 10 years ago, 12, 13, 14 years ago. But it still happens. I mean, I think theater producers and they try to maneuver some things, but then I think they always get caught back with the money and who's going to come see it and who's going to respect it and blah 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 and so on. So I think your point is very clear and it makes perfect sense. It's just going to take theater, local, smaller regional theaters to take a chance and say, screw what you think down here or wherever you are, what your feelings are on this, and we're going to do what we want to do. And it's up to you to want to come see it tonight. And hopefully the people will come and see it and they can have their opinions on what it is. They can have their own opinion.
Jennifer, Erica, I know that you both have done, well, Erica, you did Cinderella this year, and Jennifer, you've done many Studio Tenn shows. What can we do as Studio Tenn to start those conversations, to make that, what can we do?
Well, personally, for me, Cinderella was my first experience with Studio Tenn, and I think that you all have started it, casting a African-American woman as Cinderella, continuing pushing that envelope, and just not boxing anybody in. And I appreciate that, and I'm so thankful for it. And I feel that the more that the acting community in Nashville sees that, the more that actors of color are going to come out, because they know that they have a fair chance at being taken seriously and not just come in to waste their time just to be considered for, hopefully, some small ensemble part. Not saying anything badly about that, but being considered for what they bring to the table holistically.
Right. Jennifer, to you.
Yeah, I think that Studio Tenn is such a great company, I think, to bring that change, and it's been happening slowly. I personally have been watching it happen slowly, And I think it's going to take for Studio Tenn to really to do it and to stand by it. Because when you're, like Erica said, when you have, one or two people of color speckled in the ensemble, that's wonderful. But I think it's more about bringing things to the front. So I kind of think theater's like, I'm bad about all that. It's like shake and bake. I don't know if you've ever made shake and bake, but to me, like the whole point of why it's wonderful, it's just chicken. Like it's chicken. But it's when y'all, I'm Southern as I can be. It's when you throw it in the bag and you speckle it down with all that good stuff. Yes. Or the new flavors that you haven't tried, right? Because why make regular shake and bake? It's wonderful when you put some extra kick into it. It's when you shake. It's when you shake things up.
I love
like,
that.
We have to shake things up. That's the only way I feel like things are going to progress. And again, people are like, shake and bake. I don't want to eat shake and bake, but you've never tried shake and bake, so you don't know if you like it. You got to give them some samples. You got to hand out free samples to people so they can.
And it's healthier than fried.
Yes, and I help. Right? You got to shake it up a little bit, and you gotta let people taste it. Mm-hmm. So if you're not offering that second plate to somebody, then what are we doing? What's happening? What are we doing?
I gotta say that, speaking of that, the grease thing I was talking about earlier, but I have also had, and I have to be honest, I've also had opportunities myself of playing those roles that weren't meant for Black people. Mm-hmm. And I have been blessed to get those opportunities. Like, for instance, I'll just, Wicked, I was in the original Broadway company of Wicked. Joe Montello and Wayne Salento and Steven Schwartz and Mark Platt, they all, when the tour came around, they couldn't find who they wanted. And they saw me and they gave that role to me. And it was, I'm sure there was some things about it. I know there was, but they gave it to me, and I got that opportunity, and it meant the world to me. And I didn't realize how much it meant until I was walking around or going to the gym and seeing a little young Black artist come up to me and be like, when I saw you do this role, it made me realize that I had this opportunity. Mm-hmm. So I think producers need to keep those things in mind. Then when you take a jump, or when you take a chance, we're going to do something different. What that's going to do for the next generation coming up,
yes,
it's a beautiful thing.
Yes,
and I feel like I had a little tiny bit to do with some kids that came up to this because of that opportunity that I was given. So people just have to know that you have these producers, and locally and regionally and even on Broadway, you have the opportunity to do something different. See the talent, go about that talent, mm-hmm. and take a chance, because it doesn't have to be the way it always was.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a whole hit show that has made more money than anybody. Just talking about the four fathers, and ain't nobody white. You got to take a chance. But that being said, also as a community, we as a Black community, although there are fences to jump over and battles to be won, going this way as well. But we have to write. We have to write our own stuff. Mm-hmm. We have to get our stuff produced. And we got to figure a way and do it, because then it's ours, and nobody. And then we have to find maybe sometimes we can't get the white producers to do it, so we got to find the Black producers, because they are out there.
Yes.
And we have to find them. We have to get them to take a chance. So it goes all the way. It goes to the top. The Black people with the money. You got to take a chance on these Black artists to get the stuff made that we need to get so we can move forward. Because a lot of times we sit back and go, well, take a chance on us and do this and it's hard to get people to do good for us when it's theirs. They need to think about everything in a big perspective, but it's still theirs. Mm-hmm. So we got to find a way to write our own stuff, get it produced, get it out there, like Lin-Manuel did, and then it's ours, and then we can say what the hell we want to say. You know what I mean? But it's a catch-22. It goes both ways. Both ways.
Derrek, I saw you at the Pantages Theater in Wicked. And you got that role because you're a great artist, not just because you're a great Black artist, but because you're a great artist.
He also gave me notes in the car afterwards.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's because I wouldn't have played it that way, but that's just because we're friends. And same with you, Jennifer, and same with you, Erica. You got it because you're great artists, not just because you're great Black artists.
You know, Patrick, I want to say too, while you're saying that it also comes down to, I think, that there has to be, it's a trust thing. It's a trust issue where I, as a Black artist, am no different from a white artist or a Latino artist or an Asian artist. You need to trust me that I am an actor and I am going to come in here and do my job because that's what I do. And I think that sometimes, I've had those experiences where it's like, am I not getting these roles because they don't think that I have the ability to do that? Because you've placed me in this box and it's like, you're not even going to let me read for it. Do you not trust that I can give you what you need?
Well, then you go first.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Derrek. Go ahead.
No. I do that. Please forgive me. Go ahead. Finish.
No. I mean, you know, is that it? Because I think that trust plays a big role in that. So I hope that companies can learn to trust everybody.
Yes.
And know that every person in that room has the ability. Hopefully, I mean, that's why we're there. That's what we love to do.
Right.
We have the ability to do these things.
You know, but then you get further, you know, it goes further. You get up and then everything is like, we're seeing everyone for everything, multicasting everything. This happens a lot of, you know, especially up here in New York. It's, you know, it's just this, I don't want to say the safe face, but it's this, you know, safe face. But are they really looking at you for it?
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like sometimes you're like, sometimes do you prefer the honesty of like, no, we want this and we want that, or well, we're looking at everyone clearly, you know, and that's just always not the case. It's just always not the case. I mean, people know what they want before they do it. These people who write these shows, the people who produce the shows, they know what they want.
Yeah.
And there may be one part, which is still the case, 20 years later, 40 years ago, whatever, there's still the case where which part are we going to go Black with? You know, which, you know, and that's still going on today.
Yeah.
So, and you know, you would think I've been in this business a long time, and has that changed? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. That being said, you know, I personally have been blessed, but it's still a thing. It's still a thing.
There's still work to do.
I had been that token in a lot of shows.
You know, and can we talk about the token for a moment? Because I mean, I feel that the token Black person has been, you know, since the dawn of, you know, there is one. But what I've noticed is now there seems to be a lot of companies, and I don't know if they're doing it because they think they're being clever, or if so like what I've seen now is they will put people of color in a show that is not predominantly a show for people of color. So then, you know, we're out there and we're like, man, you're not going to believe what I just booked. Then you get into rehearsals and you find out that they're going to black you up. And it's like,
you mean the character, like not playing
the role, whatever it is. Now I'm not just playing the role, I'm playing a characterization of a Black person in a role. So it's like, what is happening? Like, what? And I really don't know. I'm not sure. Erica, Derrek, I'm not sure. Benji, I don't know. Do companies do this because they think it's clever?
I think that has a lot to do with vision. You know, vision of, well, you know what? Let's make this role Black. I mean, it always starts with which role are we going to go with? It's going to be this one, or it's going to be that one, or it's going to be that one. Okay.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, oh, but I see her like or whatever. It's their vision
Yeah.
of it. Instead of you just being the normal
Yeah.
person,
Just playing,
whether you're black or white. Whether
I
you're black
even-
or white. Sometimes when they go there, they want to go all the way there.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just how they see it. That's direction and everything else. So that, I think that goes with direction and how that person sees what they want to do. So you're thankful that they want to go that direction. Oh, they want to go black, but then you get in, you're like, well, I don't want to be Auntie Mama. I just want to
right.
I just want to do the part.
Yeah.
So I think it goes both ways. So you're thankful that you thought outside the box. But this is not how I see it. But then also as an artist, you have to take up for yourself, and you have to say, you know, this just seems really over the top for me. Like especially if you didn't audition that way. So if you're in the room, you got the job. You know, you just like, and even if you may, at some point, it's also taking a stand where you may not get hired by that person again.
Right.
But it's a thing of, you know what, I don't see this person this way. And you have to know what you want, and you have to hold on to it, and you have to believe in yourself and be passionate about it, and hope that you come out looking great on the other end.
Yes.
You know, we you know, as Black people in this business, we take a lot of stands, we take a lot of things, and sometimes we don't come back from it. And it's just, are you willing to take that stand, or are you willing to do what's asked of you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's unfortunate too.
Yes, very.
I have a question for all three of you. If what role, Jennifer, what role would you like to play? If you could play any part, what role would it be?
Like, what's a dream role for me?
Yeah.
Oh, I have a lot of dreams. Don't we all have a lot of dreams? We all have dreams. Hey, come on. There's so many. But I am dying to play Madame Fosca. I'm dying to play Fosca in Passion.
Great part.
Which, you know, is not predominantly for, or we just haven't seen it. We haven't seen it. You don't know that you need a Black girl in that role because you haven't seen it. Yeah, I'm dying to play Fosca. I'm dying to do Dangerous Liaison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's me.
What about you, Erica?
Well, for me, I would have to say, and this was the first time, literally when this show came out, the first time I really got into theater almost 10 years ago in high school. When Legally Blonde came out, I loved the movie and I loved seeing the MTV show. I said, I want to play Elle Woods. And I went to school telling my peers, I'm going to play Elle Woods one day and this, that, and the third. And they were just like, that's not going to be believable. We can only hope, sweetheart. And I was just like, I'm going to make it my mission for you not to be able to say that to me again, because I will play that role one day. So that's a dream role. Definitely.
Great part. Great part. And Derrek, we're going to cast you as Danny Zuko in the next production of Grease.
That's what I was going to say, man. You know, like I've been dreaming about Danny for so long. You know, it's funny, man. That's a question I've been asked before. And to this day, I don't have an answer for it, because I think what I dreamed of was I wanted a TV show or that's like a dream of mine to get rolling on TV and do something in that sense. I love Will Smith. I think his drive and his I look more at careers than say parts, you know. And I love Will Smith's career. I love how he was a rapper and how he worked hard and how he did everything, and he did it all the right way. He worked hard, and he prayed, and he got his religion, whatever that religion may be. But he got his, and he still. And if you listen to him speak today, he's just so generous and so humble,
Yes.
you know. And the man was one of the few in the '90s making $20 million a movie. And it's not about the money, but I just love what he's done, and so I look at things like that. I love careers. But thinking about a part on Broadway in a show that I really wanted to do, that's a tough question for me. It really is. It's funny because I never saw myself lasting on Broadway. I never saw myself getting to Broadway. I never saw these things, and the fact that I'm doing it 20 years later still blows my mind. So for me, being on Broadway, I'm just very thankful. I'm very humble. I'm very thankful, and you know I'm talented. I know I have some things going for me. I used to. Anyway, but yeah, I'm just there's not anything specific. I always wanted to do Dreamgirls, you know, and it was supposed to come here, and I got down. I was on a hold for God knows 2 years, I think it was, and it still hasn't come. So I'll just take that with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? But that's something that I really wanted to do. I really wanted to. I talked about Temptations for years before it ever came. I was like, Temptations would be a great show. I talked about it all, but got 10 years. And when it got here, I really wanted it, and I got down to the end, and I didn't get it. I almost got it last year, but I decided to re-up what I was doing with Book of Mormon. So I would say stuff like that. You know, I knew growing up when I was working at Busch Gardens in Williamsburg, and I went to see Smokey Joe's Cafe, and I was like, I'm gonna do this show, and I did it a year later. So those are the moments that I had for myself. You know, it's like back then, if I knew if I really wanted something and I really wanted to do it and I wanted to work hard at it, I was going to get it. That was the confidence that I had back then before I had a daughter. It's probably my one. It's like, I'm going to do that, and I got it, and I did the national tour.
Wow. You know that? Would you ever like to do Harold Hill in Music Man?
Who?
Harold Hill in the Music Man?
You know, I wouldn't be opposed to it. It's not something that I dream about or think about. But you know, I mean, it's funny. Like I was kind of, for some reason, people always saw me as that guy who could, you know, definitely. If we're gonna go black,
what?
I'm gonna call Derrek Williams.
Well, you know, Norm Lewis did it at the Kennedy Center.
Norm Lewis is fantastic,
great. And he was great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was 20 years old auditioning for Ragtime and auditioning for Coal-House, and I think it was for a cover for sure because I was young, you know, very young. But you know, getting down to the end of that, you know, it's so many moments. But you know, there's not something specific, I would say, for me. But you know, I'm such a different kind of musical theater guy. If people know me, they always say that they know me, they look at me, and they think they get to know me, and they go, "You do musical theater?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I do." But it's very surprising to a lot of people who know me, who get to know me. So but I love doing it. I love it. It's great. You know, things are really crazy right now. I mean, a lot of stuff's coming out, and a lot of negative things, and they have merit. The stuff that's coming out now, you know, a lot of because of George Flynn and everything, because of George and everything that's coming out, a lot of racism, a lot of things about racism, institution racism is now coming out, and Broadway is being hit right now, and it's a scary time. It's a scary time, but it's stuff that people feel like it needs to be said, and you know, I applaud them if that's how they feel. You know? I kind of turned the corner there, but you know what I'm saying.
Derrek, can you, for some of our viewers at home, especially regionally, can you sort of talk a little bit about Broadway right now and some of the accusations that are rightfully so about institutional racism and some of the things that are coming out?
Well, you know, I've been reading a lot of things as well, and I got to tell you, everybody's story is different. Everybody's situation is different. I think it would be immature of me. I don't know if immature is the right word, but I don't want to give an uneducated response to that.
Sure.
Because I can only go by what I feel, what I know, what I've experienced. But if I was to sit here and say that I think they're wrong or I think they're right, I think it's both. You know, I think there are situations that happen in the Broadway community that are frustrating. You know, a gentleman was talking about getting a haircut, and which is a thing. I mean, you come backstage and there are mostly white hairdressers and makeup artists and blah blah blah. You know, it's just the way it is. And you trying to get your hair cut because they cut everybody's hair. They cut all the white boys' hair. They cut all the white girls' hair. They do all this stuff. They do their hair, and we trying to get our hair done. But we're like, you haven't picked up a clippers and touched a black person's hair ever. How in the world are you going to do mine?
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of his issues that this person went through. That he was talking about online. Me, I was, to be perfectly honest with you, I'll tell you, I was in that same company. People, and that's that thing. I was in that same company this gentleman was in. But me, I said, you're not cutting my hair. Somebody else is. And you're going to pay for it. And they did. So it's hard for me to chalk it up to racism or to someone being different. I can't speak on his behalf. I can only speak on mine and what I've dealt with. Sure. I personally in the industry have not, until that, the one Kaneki thing I told you about is one thing that, and for me it wasn't a huge thing. It was I appreciated the honesty on the situation, and that's how I took it. But that's just how I am. But my life in the industry, I've been blessed. I've been taken care of. I have been respected. And that's all I can speak on. I've been on Broadway off and on for 20 years. And I have been taken care of in every way that I've needed. So I can't speak on the other stuff that people are having issues with. I think some people are asking just for Broadway to listen to what's happening in our community, and some people are talking about very specific situations that they've dealt with. But I think racism is in almost every industry. Is in every industry. If some form of racism is happening everywhere in every industry that we have. So we can go through down the line. We can go to the fire department. We can go to the police department. We can go to the hospitals. We can go to the radio stations. We can go to Target. We can go to Home Depot. We can go to the grocery stores. It is everywhere. If you have a platform, can you take one thing that you're dealing with and call it out? Sure. We can all take a platform. We can all take a step forward. I work for Home Depot, and I can tell you all the racism that's going on there. We can do that. We can go down the line. Sure, we can. I'm not saying we shouldn't. Maybe we should. But that's what's happening right now with the Broadway community. People are upset. People are tired, mm-hmm. including myself. We're hurt, and what that does is bring up everything that we have dealt with in our lifetime. Mm-hmm. And that's what the Broadway community, the people on Broadway, that's what they are dealing with right now. And that's what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to sit here and say that they are wrong. That I'm going to say they're probably right in how they're feeling. But I can only speak on myself and what I've dealt with and what I've done and what I've seen. And that's all I can do. Sure. I have been taken care of. I've been pushed into a part that was for a white person. I have been the token. I have been more than that, and I have been taken care of. I have been respected. I've been paid. My family's been taken care of. I've been, these things that they've kept me on for years because I have a kid and I don't want to go anywhere, or because I'm telling my part and I want to stay. So that's what I've dealt with. But I'm not going to knock what people are feeling because they are right too. My friend, my good friend Warren was one of the people that had spoke up, but he spoke about not just about blacks. He spoke about racism in general, of all of it. And some people, like I said, some people are very specific, and some people are talking about a generalization of what's happening and what we need to do to move forward. And that comes from what we talked about before, having more. We need to have more writers and people put their stuff forward. But that being said, they need to have the opportunity to have it produced. Mm-hmm. And if they're not getting the opportunity to have that produced, like the guy Griffith was talking about, the only way we're going to produce your stuff is if you change the name, is if you change this and you change that. Well, that's not cool. That's not right. And that can be taken as racism. And that's how he took it. That was just one small thing that he mentioned. That was one of the things that he mentioned. But he's right. If I put my heart and soul to my material, and you like it, but you're telling me now you own the rights, you're not going to let me do it unless I change the name and change this and change that, change that. Well, you're changing my story, and that is wrong. Mm-hmm. That is wrong. And if the other person I'm talking about when it's his haircut, if he felt like if now you're the problem child because you won't let him cut your hair, that's wrong too. So again, I can't say that they're wrong. I can only speak on how I've been treated. And to me, I've been treated with respect. And that's, and that's, but then, I'm sorry, I'm ranting, but not ranting, but it's just like the police. It's just like the whole police thing. I haven't experienced these things.
Mm-hmm.
My best friend growing up, his father was a cop. I mean, I used to go to the police station all the time. I've been pulled over and let go. All right, don't do it again. But these are things that I've dealt with. And so over the years, seeing everything that's happening and knowing everything that's happening, it's been hard because I haven't dealt with those things. But I'm not going to sit back anymore and be silent about what's going on because that's not right.
Right.
We got innocent people out here being killed for nothing. Mm-hmm. So it's I get it all. I get it all. But speaking on the Broadway thing, it's there are things happening. Of course, there's racism in Broadway. There's racism everywhere, and we have to remember that.
I'm curious, Erica, and I'm curious, Jennifer. Is there a difference between being a Black woman as an artist versus being a Black man as an artist?
I believe so. I think when I first got into musical theater, as I've said before, it wasn't, I got a lot of feedback about it not being believable for a Black woman to play certain roles that weren't sassy or the mammy role. And the same person in the same conversation can go and talk about how a Black man can play the lead role in the same show that I'm talking about. So I think that it's slowly changing, but I do think that for Black women, it has been a slow progression, in my opinion. I'm not saying it's not as hard for Black men, but I've seen more Black men in my coming up in musical theater. I've seen them been given more opportunities to be casted outside of the box, shall I say. I feel like it's hard. It's a song, The Random Black Girl Singing the Soul. If I'm not soulful or if I'm not sassy, then I'm not taken seriously. And when I was younger, that kind of led me to believe that I didn't have a future in this until I said, no, actually, I think I can do this. And I'm not going to listen to my peers who, they don't know any better. I'm going to show you better than I can tell you. So I do think there's a difference. I think it's just more of a tussle or a fight, or I don't know. Jennifer, what do you think?
I agree with you. I absolutely agree. I think that it is very much a fight in a lot of different aspects, being I know that in this business that unfortunately a lot of things are cast on the way you look and not by the way you sound or the way you perform Shakespeare, whatever it is. And I think for Black women, as we know, it is difficult, and walking into a room is a whole different thing. So I do agree with you. I agree with everything you said.
And is it better?
Yeah, there are a lot more. I mean, there obviously there are not a lot of parts for Black women. They're not there, and somebody has to think outside the box in order to get that opportunity. Right. And that goes back to what I'm saying. You got playwrights, and they have their vision, what they want, and what they want to do. And it's hard to criticize the way they're telling a story that they've been through or had, and how they want to see it portrayed. And that's why I say we have to have more Black people writing stuff. But that being said, we have to have more Black people getting produced. It's just this vicious cycle. Because I've always had the opinion in that, like, if I wrote something, you're not going to tell me what to do with my play. That's how I look at it. And I think the issue is that's what we've been dealing with, unfortunately. So therefore, we have to produce it. We got to get our own stuff produced. We have to create. Hopefully we've all been creating during this quarantine time and just really getting stuff together, because we have to get it, and we have to get it. I think it starts at the higher level, getting the stuff that we are doing produced and produced the right way. You know, and that's hard. But we need more Black people with money that has that kind of money that they can. Hey, you know what? Take this. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
But we need the people up, you know, with you know, the Oprahs and the Tyler Perrys and blah blah. Not necessarily the Chitlin circuit, but we need.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we need, like, hey, Tyler Perry, open up your studio, do whatever you do, and produce I don't want to say a real show. I'm not saying the Chitlin circuit ain't real, okay? But produce a Broadway show.
Yes.
Take the chance.
Yes.
And then produce another one. And then produce another one. Like, you produce all of them 200 Tyler Perry movies you got. Take Oprah. Oprah produced Color Purple. You know, I mean, so those are the steps that need to be taken, so we have these opportunities. So we have the same opportunities as every other Black person around us.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if we ever have the same opportunities as life in this business. I don't know if we'll ever have that.
And we haven't. We have not had that, but I think we could. I think it is possible that we could, but it's got to start somewhere.
I agree.
I have a question for all of you. Is there a difference when you go in for a director that's a Black director versus a white director? Is it and what I mean by that is that, do you feel, I don't know, what do you feel more sense of comfort, or do you feel what is there any difference between it?
I think so, and I think, I don't know if it okay no, I don't want to say it like that. If I think there is definitely a comfort level, and I know that I'm not sure if you are familiar with code switching. If code switching, you know what it is. There are some great books about code switching. I urge everyone to go educate yourself on what that is. But I definitely think that that is also something that is real, and it happens. So that, for me, my own experience, I definitely feel that there is the pressure level drops. And I feel with a Black director that even if it may not be my best audition, I feel that they heard me. I feel that I know that when I'm in there, that 6 minutes is my 6 minutes to do whatever I'm going to do, and it's good. Whereas sometimes I feel that I go in for a white director and it's like, okay, gulp, here we go. Does anyone even care in this room? Because I'm probably they're not even looking at me for any of these things. My time's being wasted. And it's just, 6 minutes of deafness. And there's that kind of, it feels a little more relaxed, I think, sometimes. That's me personally. I don't know, Erica, Derrek, how you guys feel about it.
Are we speaking audition or? Oh, I'm sorry.
The difference between a white director and a Black director.
Okay. So personally, for me, I went to Tennessee State University, and so honestly, I can truly say during my time there, that's been my only time working with Black directors. Everything else that's on my resume was done in Nashville with a white director, and so there is a difference because I got my training from them. So there's like a comfort level, because I always try to look at in any rehearsal space or any show that I'm in class. I'm being professional, but whatever my director is giving to me, I'm a student to my craft always. So I always try to go in with what they have taught me. But like you said, there is a more like relaxed kind of feeling. And I can also say personally for me, when I'm in school or when I was at school and I was being directed under a Black director, I felt more comfortable versus being outside of that. I kind of feel like I have to be perfect. Like there's no room for me to mess up. And I say sorry a lot, like sorry, but I'm just doing my job. You know, I have to untrain myself from the past traumas that have been inflicted from, you know, high school and all that old craziness. But I do feel there's a difference, and I agree with you, Jennifer.
I'm sorry, Derrek.
You know, you talk about auditioning, right? Like going in the room and auditioning.
I did.
You know, for me, I think it's more about, I'm more comfortable walking in the room knowing that you're looking for a Black person. You know, not that you are like, we're seeing everybody because we know what you're looking for. But I could read the part and go, you ain't looking for me. You're not looking for me. And then I go in the room with that attitude. You ain't looking for me. But you know, so but black director, white director, whatever. If you're looking for me, that's when I'm comfortable. If you're not, then I'm a little uncomfortable. And I'm like, well, you know, I'll do what I can. I'll do me. I'm gonna do my best. But for me, it's all about that. Knowing when I walk in the room, are you really seeing me, or are you just seeing me to save face or to do the PC thing? So that's what it's like for me. And I tell my manager, I'm like, you know, Felicia, this doesn't look like they want to see me. The guy's name is Brad. I don't think they're looking for me. Oh, whatever. I'm just giving you Brad's example. And she'll tell me, no, I know for a fact that they want to go with a person of color. Okay, let's go. So that's it's more of that for me. But whoever's in the room, you know, because most of the time, to be perfectly honest with you, most of the time they are white. That's just the way it is. There's not a lot of Black directors out there that's getting their shit produced on Broadway.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Yeah. Or anywhere else. So it's not about, I'm mostly seeing white people. But it's more about, are you looking for me or are you not?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know, are you looking for me or are you not? That's the issue.
Erica, you said something that I'm so glad you said it. I feel that that's something that's not talked about either, is the high expectation for people of color, especially for Black people in theater.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're so damn good. Okay? Because we're so damn good.
You're
and
hilarious, Derrek.
All of us are going for those two parts. Okay?
The two parts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but
so
you know what I mean?
When 1,000 of us are fantastic, when 500 of us are fantastic, you got to blow their asses away.
Absolutely.
That's the difference.
Absolutely. But I was also talking about the expectation of how it feels, it seems, and it feels that there is this expectation that when Black people walk into an audition, we are expected by white directors and choreographers and those things to sing better, to dance harder, to be, it's like this, I don't know, it's just like there's this expectation. So there is that automatic feeling of, don't mess this up, like this is it. I got to give it everything I have, even if I don't have it, because this is what it's expected from me.
Well, I would say this.
I think it's kind of sour, but
I would say this to you if you feel that way. You know, that is something that you cannot think about ever.
It's so hard. Yeah.
I know, but like when you walk in that room as a Black woman, you have to throw that out the window, because you have to go in there thinking and knowing that you're just going to go in there and do your best anyway. And this is who I am. This is what I got. You know?
Right.
And that's all you can do.
Mhm.
That's all. And that's with everything. That's TV, Broadway. All you can do is what you do. All you can do is what you're able to do.
You know?
You ain't got to be perfect. I mean, look, you got to try to be perfect. That's what we do. We're trying to do the best thing we can.
Right.
All you can do is what you can do. What you cannot do is walk in there and worry about what they thinking, or a white or Jane in front of me was killing it, and I got to be better than her. That stuff is out of your control. You
Right.
can only do what you can control.
And when you give it, you go in, you give it. I've given everything that I have,
Oh.
and that's it on the dance floor. Take it or leave it.
Yes.
This
Yeah.
is it. And it also
Yeah.
feels weird when people are like, "Can you give me something else?" And it's like, no, I've given it to you. This is it.
Yeah, and then then you walk out the door.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.
Right.
This is it.
It's,
So yeah, no, I
You know,
feel
this-
you,
this-
Derek. I feel that.
this business is tough. It's always
Yeah.
been tough, and it's tougher for us. And
Yeah.
everybody knows that.
Yeah.
You know, it is a tough business. You know, 5% of our union works. 5% of equity works.
Mhm.
Okay? It is hard, and it is harder for us.
Yeah.
It is harder for us. And you have to realize that. And will it ever change? Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
We're talking hundreds of years here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we just have to. It's like when your mother and your father, whatever, talk to you about going to school, growing up in elementary all the way through high school and to college. You have to be better than everybody else, because that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is.
Right?
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
have to be better
You
than
have to.
everybody else, and it's the only way to look at it. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I tell her this all the time. You have to be better. You have to be better than everybody else, because this person is going to get it over you. So therefore, you got to be better. That will never change for us.
No.
And I'm not trying to sound jaded. I'm not trying to sound negative. It's the truth.
Yes.
Mhm.
And
is the
Derek, that's
truth.
what I mean by that expectation.
Mhm.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's real. It's a
And
real
if we don't
thing.
bring it, we ain't got a chance.
That's it. It's
Mhm.
like, that's
Yeah.
it. It's like, I am
Yeah.
expected to be better, do better. It's got to be on point, or
But
I'm
we can't
done.
think about it.
Yeah. No.
But
We just do it.
we can't go in a room. You can't go in a room thinking about that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Guys,
You should. You know this. You know this already. You know it already. You just go in, and you get it done.
and guys, we have a few minutes left. I want to hear just from each one of you what we can do better. What we can do better.
You know, it sounds like, I'm sorry, I didn't speak up first, but listening to Erica and listening to Jennifer, it sounds like you guys, your company is on the right path.
Mhm.
In Tennessee, you know, so, you know, I'm from Virginia, which is, next door over. That's important what you guys are doing. You and Patrick and Benji, it's very important what you guys have done, and continue to move forward with that. You have to think outside the box just to give people a different perspective, because when those people start to see the different perspective, that's when things change.
Mhm.
You know, I never forget when I was doing Wicked, and I was playing Fierro in Houston, Texas, and Joe Montello came. You know, he was happened to be there, and we got notes after. He said, "Baby, when you walked out on that stage, when you were the Black Prince and walked out on that stage," he said, "you could feel the air leave the room." I'll never forget it. And he said, when you kissed Glenda, but you know what? They didn't care. And those people saw it. And so 20 years later here, or 15 years, 18, whatever, doing my show now, Book of Mormon, and this kid came in who's in my show, and he said, white guy, and he said, I saw you in Houston, and he showed me a picture of me laying on the ground with his group that came with him, and and how that moved him and how that loved him. So, and that stayed with him and who he is today. And he, you know, and so what you guys are doing is you're on the right path, because you're going to show people in Tennessee and whoever else comes into that town to see your shows, that things don't have to be cookie cut perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Here is our Black Cinderella. Here is this, you know, whatever you guys keep going, because that's how you make change. That's what the arts is about. That's what we do. We show how things should be. You know, you should have you know, you can have a black prince and a black prince and a white daughter. I mean, it shouldn't matter. Look at the people for the characters and not by the color of their skin.
Mm-hmm.
So you sound like you guys are on the right path, and I would just continue to go the way you're going. You know, Patrick, I've known you for years. And you're going to bring so much to that place. And it sounds like Benji. It sounds like you were already trying to do your thing. And I applaud you. Benji, and just keep you both working together. Are going to do incredible things once we get back going. You're going to do incredible things for that theater company, and I'm so proud of both of you.
Oh, thanks.
All of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jennifer, what, do you have a last thing you want to say?
I mean, when we were discussing it earlier, I definitely just think that it's important for, you know, this company to keep pushing
Mm-hmm.
for the change, and not only push for it, but make those changes, strive for it. I know that, you know, this company in particular is well known for, you know, bringing in the Broadway stars and mixing them with the local talent and that kind of thing. And I think it's going to take more of that. And you just really have to push for it. So as long as I feel that this company continues to go in that direction, it's only up and up from here.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that it's important, as Derrek mentioned, that, you know, we should never ever forget, as you know, actors and storytellers, that when we are doing a play, when someone is producing a play or we're reading a play, and we're looking at it, everything is specified by the playwright. It's right there when you open up the piece of paper, what is needed for that play. If it is not specified that it has to be John, white, 50s, whatever, if it's not historical, that means it's for everybody,
yes,
and everyone should be included.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is very important,
Yes.
to remember as we push forward in this theater.
Erica?
They both said everything so eloquently, just perfect. I completely agree with everything they said. And one thing for me, I think that Studio Tenn is wonderful. You guys are, you know, setting the standard for what theater is and what it should be. And it just warms my heart to think that I said this during Cinderella. I can see my younger self in the audience, and I can see someone who looks like me being inspired, and they can say, I can do that as well. So I think that's so important. And just variety, just mixing it up a little bit. You know, if we are going to do a Black show, let's do something new that we haven't seen. Let's do something. It's so much out here that is just waiting for us to explore. And I just, you guys are amazing. I think that we're on the right path.
Well, guys, listen.
Hey, Patrick, I like to say one thing before you go. Just in reference to what's happening in our country right now, and I'll be brief. It won't be too long. I'll try to make it short. But you know, I think a week ago, if you asked me how do I feel, I would have said hopeless. I've been feeling hopeless of with the racial issues that have been going on for a while now, dating back to Trayvon Martin, and just when nothing's being done, and knowing that history will repeat itself. But I gotta say, looking online, I'm seeing a lot of solidarity, and I think it's beautiful. But on top of that, I would ask for people. You know, I've had friends, my white friends, reaching out and telling me they're thinking about me and blah blah blah, and all that means is the world to me. It really does. What I would say, on top of reaching out to your friends of color, my white friends, my white people, talk to your family,
Yes.
talk to your white friends who you know have different opinions
Yes.
of the situation, and have a discussion and hope that you can somehow break through to them. Because you don't need to break through to me. I know who you are. I know who my friends are. But what we need is change, systematic change through a different way. And I just pray and hope that those people who are reaching out to their colored friends, their friends of color, that they reach out to their family members, their mothers, their fathers, if they have them, their brothers, their sisters, their friends, and have a discussion about what needs to change.
Yeah.
And have compassion for Black people.
Mm-hmm.
Well said. Derrek, I love you. It's so great to see you, pal.
Love you too, man.
Thank you so much
You
for
too,
doing
man.
the show. Jennifer, adore you. Erica, adore you. So thank you so much for doing our show. You guys are awesome.
Thanks for having
You're great, man.
And Jennifer, I will
Nice
see
to
you
meet
Thank you
Nice
for
to meet
having
you all.
us.
tonight, Jennifer.
me.
You're singing for us on Friday night, aren't you, Jennifer?
I believe so, yes.
All right, awesome.
What
Guys-
you singing, baby?
We have
Okay.
I don't know. something good.
with it, whatever it is. Guys, thank you all so much. Have a wonderful
All right,
evening,
guys.
and I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you so
Take care.
much.
Take care, guys.